1 hour equals 10 results. Performance Without Burnout by Ethan S. Lowell. Published by Audiobooks Hub. Introduction. I used to believe that working harder was the answer to everything. More hours, more hustle, more caffeine. That was a formula I followed for years. And like many people, I wore my exhaustion like a badge of honor. Late nights? No problem. Weekends? Who needs them? Productivity, I thought, was about squeezing as much as possible into every single minute. But then it hit me. The fatigue, the mental fog, the growing list of things I was doing, without actually achieving much. Sure, I was busy, but was I effective? Was I truly producing meaningful results? The answer, if I was honest, was no. And even worse, I was burning out. That's when I stumbled upon a simple idea that would flip everything upside down. What if, instead of chasing results with more hours, I aimed for more results in fewer hours? What if 1 hour could equal 10 meaningful outcomes without sacrificing my health or sanity? That single thought became an obsession. I read every book I could find on productivity, time management, neuroscience, energy optimization, and habits. I interviewed people who seemed to get more done in a day than others did in a week. I tested ideas, tracked my energy, measured my output, and adjusted until things clicked. The result is this book. This is not another guide that tells you to wake up at 4 a.m., drink celery juice, and schedule every second of your day. You won't find unrealistic routines or guilt-tripping advice about why you're not doing enough. What you will find are real, sustainable practices that help you get more done in less time while actually enjoying your life. Because productivity without burnout isn't just possible, it's essential. You see, most people confuse movement with progress. They fill their days with tasks, meetings, notifications, and noise. But being busy isn't the same as being productive. True productivity is about focus, clarity, and alignment. It's about doing the right things in the right way at the right time. And here's the best part. It doesn't take all day. In fact, it can happen in just 1 hour if you approach that hour differently. This book will walk you through exactly how to do that. Over the next 10 chapters, you'll learn how to rewire your relationship with time, sharpen your focus, protect your energy, and build systems that support your best work. You'll also discover how to track your results in a way that keeps you motivated and grounded. We'll talk about why traditional productivity advice often backfires, how to identify your personal peak performance windows, and how to structure your day around outcomes instead of hours. You'll learn how to manage your attention like a precious resource and how to stay consistent without feeling like you're constantly pushing a boulder uphill. Each chapter will give you one principle, one shift, or one tool that builds on a last. Nothing fluffy, nothing abstract, just practical, human strategies that actually work, even if you're overwhelmed, scattered, or already stretched too thin. By the end, you'll know exactly how to turn 1 hour into 10 meaningful results. Not by doing more, but by doing what matters. And here's the real secret. When you work this way, you don't just get better outcomes. You get your life back. You'll find more space for rest, creativity, connection, and joy. Because what's the point of productivity if it comes at the cost of your well-being? So, if you ever felt like you're working hard but not moving forward, or if you're tired of being tired, this book is for you. You don't need to hustle harder. You need to work smarter, and in a way that fuels you instead of draining you. Let's begin. 1 hour at a time. Chapter 1. I used to think time was the problem. If only I had more time, I'd say, I blamed the clock for everything. Missed deadlines, abandoned goals, forgotten birthdays. Time always felt like it was slipping through my fingers, and no matter how hard I tried, I could never seem to catch up. But time wasn't the issue. The real problem was how I used it. Most of us go through life reacting. We react to emails, to phone calls, to people asking for favors, to notifications popping up on our screens. Our calendars get filled with things we didn't choose, and our attention is constantly hijacked. We don't live our days, we survive them, and yet we wonder why we're exhausted and still behind. The truth is, every day gives us the same 24 hours. But what separates high-output people from the rest isn't more time, it's better leverage. They don't work more hours. They get more out of each hour. So how do they do it? They start with clarity. Clarity is the foundation of real productivity. Without it, you're just spinning your wheels. You can be busy all day and accomplish nothing of real value. But when you know exactly what matters and why, you can focus your energy like a laser. That's the first step in turning 1 hour into 10 results, knowing what your real targets are. Let me ask you a simple question. If you could only accomplish one thing today, just one, what would it be? Not 5 things, not 10, just one. This question cuts through the noise. It forces you to look past the distractions and focus on impact, because at the end of the day, not all tasks are created equal. Some things move the needle. Others just keep you busy. Most people fall into what I call the illusion of progress. They check off boxes, answer emails, attend meetings, and feel like they've been productive. But none of those things create real momentum if they aren't aligned with what actually matters. High output people don't do more. They do less, but better. They don't waste their best energy on low-value tasks. Instead, they identify what I call impact actions, the few activities that create the biggest results. And then they build their hours around those actions, protecting them like gold. Here's how to start. Step 1. Define your goals clearly. Not vague ideas like be more successful or get things done. Be specific. Sign 2 new clients this month. Write 10,000 words for my book. Launch the new project by Friday. Clarity creates focus. Focus creates results. Step 2. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that, if completed today, would make the biggest difference? That's your priority, not your to-do list, not your inbox. That one thing. Step 3. Dedicate 1 focused hour to that priority. Not multitasking, not checking your phone. 1 solid, undistracted, high-energy hour. You'll be surprised at how much progress you can make when you give your full attention to one important thing. The first time I tried this, I was skeptical. An hour? That's it? But the results were staggering. That 1 focused hour accomplished more than entire days of scattered effort. It was like time slowed down. Everything felt sharper. I was in control. Over time, I began to see a pattern. When I started my day with clarity, everything else flowed more easily. I wasn't constantly reacting. I wasn't switching between 10 tasks. I had 1 target, 1 purpose, 1 outcome. And even on the days when life threw chaos at me, and believe me, it still does, I could still salvage that 1 hour, and that hour would carry my progress forward. It's not about perfection. It's about momentum. You might be thinking, but I don't have a full hour. That's okay. Start with what you do have. Even 30 minutes of focused effort can create more results than a full day of scattered busyness. What matters is intention. Another powerful shift is learning to say no, not in a harsh way, but with clarity. When you know what matters, it becomes easier to protect your time from distractions disguised as opportunities. Not every request deserves your attention. Not every task is urgent. Not every idea needs to be acted on. Every yes is a no to something else. And if you're always saying yes to everyone else, you'll never have time for things that matter most to you. That's not selfish. That's strategic. Because if you want to create real results in business, health, relationships, or any area of life, you need to own your time. You need to direct your energy toward high-leverage actions that multiply your outcomes. And that begins with 1 hour. 1 hour of clarity. 1 hour of intention. 1 hour where you stop reacting and start choosing. This is not a productivity hack. It's a mindset shift. You are not behind. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You're just distracted. And when you remove the distractions, even for 1 hour a day, you unlock a version of yourself that's sharper, faster, more creative, more powerful. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you dive into the chaos, ask yourself one question. What's the one thing today that will move me forward? Then, protect 1 hour to do just that. No multitasking. No distractions. Just you and the work that matters. Do this consistently, and you'll start seeing 10x results, not from working harder, but from working smarter. You don't need more time. You just need to use it differently. Chapter 2. It's strange how we all get the same number of hours in a day, yet some people seem to do everything with grace and ease, while others are constantly scrambling, trying to catch up. It's not about intelligence or resources. It's about rhythm. Most people don't realize that their energy, focus, and creativity fluctuate throughout the day. We assume that we should be on all the time, and when we're not, we blame ourselves. But the truth is, your brain and body are wired for cycles. There are windows in your day when you're naturally at your best, and others when pushing harder only drains you faster. Understanding and working with your energy, instead of fighting against it, is the next key to turning 1 hour into 10 results. This idea changed everything for me. For years, I thought willpower was enough. I believed that if I just forced myself to concentrate, I'd get through anything. But some days, no matter how hard I tried, my brain was foggy, my thoughts scattered, and my work mediocre at best. I chalked it up to laziness. In reality, I was simply ignoring my own biology. Here's the truth. Productivity is not about squeezing work into every available minute. It's about identifying the right moments, your peak energy periods, and using them wisely. Scientists call these natural patterns ultradian rhythms, cycles that repeat throughout the day, typically every 90 to 120 minutes. During these cycles, your alertness rises, peaks, and then falls. You have bursts of high energy and periods of natural rest. The trick is to work with these rhythms, not against them. For me, my golden hours are between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. That's when I'm the sharpest, the most focused, the most creative. I protect this time like a sacred ritual. No meetings, no errands, no aimless scrolling. That's when I tackle my most important tasks. But this isn't about copying someone else's schedule. It's about discovering your own performance windows. Start by observing your day. When do you feel most alert? When does your brain feel sluggish? When do ideas come easily? Track this for a week. Be honest. You'll start to notice patterns. That's your natural rhythm speaking. Once you've identified your peak hours, the goal is simple. Match your most important work to your highest energy. This might mean doing deep, focused work in the morning and saving shallow tasks, like checking emails or running errands, for later in the day when your energy dips. It might mean saying no to early meetings or late-night sessions, depending on your personal rhythm. This shift alone can dramatically increase your output without increasing your hours. Let me give you an example. A friend of mine, a software developer, used to work late into the night because he believed that's what productive people do. But he always struggled to write clean code after 8 p.m. He was constantly rewriting the next day what he had forced himself to do the night before. Once he started paying attention, he realized his peak time was actually between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. He shifted his schedule, started working early, and by noon his most critical work was done. The rest of the day, meetings, admin, and rest. His results doubled, and his stress dropped by half. That's the power of aligning your schedule with your natural strengths. Now, you might be thinking, but I don't control my time. I have a boss, meetings, kids, responsibilities. I get it. Life is messy. Not everyone has the luxury of designing their day from scratch. But here's the thing. You don't need full control. You just need to carve out that one high-energy hour. Maybe it's early in the morning before the house wakes up. Maybe it's a focused hour after lunch with headphones on. Maybe it's a quiet evening block when the world slows down. You don't need a perfect schedule. You need a protected window. And once you find that window, you treat it like gold. You guard it from distractions. You don't let small tasks steal it. You show up consistently, even if it's just for an hour. Over time, that 1 hour becomes your secret weapon. And here's something else most people miss. Energy is more important than time. You could have 3 hours of free time, but if you're mentally drained, you'll accomplish nothing. On the other hand, one energized, focused hour can move mountains. So instead of asking, do I have time for this? Start asking, do I have energy for this? This small shift changes everything. You stop forcing productivity during your lows and start leaning into your highs. You begin to treat rest as a strategy, not a reward. You recharge before you burn out, not after. You'll also start making better decisions. When you're tired, you default to easy options, scrolling, snacking, procrastinating. But when you're rested and focused, you tackle the real work, the meaningful work, the work that actually creates results. And here's a little secret. Managing your energy doesn't require a complete lifestyle overhaul. Sometimes, it's as simple as drinking more water, taking a 10-minute walk in the sunlight, stepping away from screens, getting enough sleep, breathing deeply. These small habits restore your energy faster than you realize. Think of it like this. You're not a machine. You're a system. And systems work best when they're balanced, maintained, and optimized. So, here's your challenge to this chapter. Discover your personal energy rhythm. Track it. Protect your high energy hour. Match it with your most important task. Then, notice how much more you can accomplish. Not by pushing harder, but by working smarter. 1 hour, 10 results. And you didn't need more time. You just needed to use your best time better. Chapter 3. It's easy to believe that the key to getting more done is doing more things. That if you just squeeze in another task, reply to one more email, or stay up an extra hour, you'll finally get ahead. But in truth, productivity isn't about volume. It's about choice. What you choose to work on matters more than how hard you work on it. Every day, you're faced with hundreds of decisions. What to focus on, who to respond to, what to prioritize. And every choice pulls your attention in a direction. If you don't make those choices intentionally, someone else will make them for you. Your inbox, your boss, your notifications, the never-ending list of little urgencies. You end up reacting to life instead of directing it. This chapter is about the power of choosing the right thing. Not the most urgent, not the easiest, the one thing that creates the biggest ripple effect. I call it leveraged action, doing something small that makes everything else easier or unnecessary. Let's take an example. Imagine you spend 30 minutes every day answering the same types of customer questions in your business. You're busy, you're responsive, but you're also stuck in a loop. Now imagine spending one focused hour creating an FAQ page or a short onboarding video. That single hour eliminates a repetitive task forever. That's leveraged action. 1 hour equals 10 results. Or maybe you spend hours each week juggling schedules and meetings. Then one day, you spend 60 minutes setting up a simple calendar tool that lets people book time with you automatically. Suddenly, your inbox is cleaner. Your time is protected. That's leveraged action. This principle applies to everything: your work, your health, your relationships. Instead of asking, what do I need to do next? Start asking, what action would solve this problem for good? High output people don't work harder. They make smarter decisions. They identify the few actions that remove dozens of other tasks from their plate. And once they find those actions, they go all in on them. This requires a shift in thinking. Most of us are addicted to activity. We like feeling busy. It makes us feel productive. But busy doesn't always mean effective. In fact, busyness can be the perfect disguise for procrastination. Let me repeat that. Busyness is often procrastination in disguise. You avoid the hard, high-leverage task by doing 10 small, comfortable ones. You answer emails. You organize your desktop. You tweak your to-do list. But deep down, you know what really matters. You just haven't done it yet. The real work, the work that moves you forward, is often uncomfortable. It's not urgent. It's not always fun, but it creates the biggest impact. So how do you train yourself to focus on high-leverage tasks? Start with the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. It states that 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. In other words, most of what you do doesn't actually move the needle. A small portion does. Your job is to find that small portion. Each morning, take a few minutes and ask yourself, what's the one thing I could do today that would make everything else easier? Which task, if completed, would make the biggest impact? What am I avoiding that I know is important? Write the answers down. Then circle the one that matters most. That's your leveraged action for the day. Now here's the hard part. Protect time to do it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't try to warm up with smaller tasks. Dive straight into it during your peak energy window. Make it the first thing you do. Even if it takes just 30 or 60 minutes, the momentum it creates will be worth far more than anything else you could do with that time. Here's what I've learned. The best results don't come from doing more things. They come from doing the right thing and doing it with intention. Sometimes, the most productive hour of your day is the one where you stop being busy and start being brave, where you stop reacting and start leading, where you do the thing you've been avoiding, the thing that matters, the thing that changes everything. That's how 1 hour turns into 10 results. Let me give you a real-life example. A friend of mine had been trying to grow her side business for over a year. She was working late nights, building content, posting on social media, chasing clients. She was always tired, always behind. One day, she decided to stop and rethink everything. She asked herself, what's the one thing I could do that would actually grow this business in a sustainable way? The answer: create one irresistible offer and one clear sales system. So she paused everything else. Took 1 week to create the offer, another week to build the system. It was hard, it was focused, but when she launched it, everything changed. Her audience grew, her income doubled, and her hours dropped. She didn't need to work harder. She needed to work smarter. That's the power of leveraged action. It creates freedom. So here's your challenge. Identify one high leverage action each day. It might not be urgent. It might not be glamorous. But if done consistently, these small, focused choices will create a life that's less chaotic, more intentional, and far more effective. 1 hour, 10 results. It's not a fantasy. It's a decision. Chapter 4. We've all had that kind of day. You wake up full of good intentions. You make a to-do list. You tell yourself, today's going to be different. But then the messages start rolling in. The notifications don't stop. You open your inbox just for a second. And before you know it, you're drowning in tasks you didn't even plan for. By the end of the day, you've been busy, exhausted even, but somehow you make real progress on the things that mattered most. That's not laziness. That's distraction. And in the age we live in, distraction is the enemy of results. If you want to turn 1 hour into 10 results, you have to reclaim your attention. Because attention is the real currency of productivity. Not time, not effort, not hustle. Without focused attention, even 10 hours can feel like nothing got done. But when you learn how to protect your focus, everything changes. A single hour becomes enough. A task that usually takes 3 hours can be finished in 1. You stop bouncing between things and start moving forward with clarity and speed. Here's the truth. Most people don't need more time. They just need fewer distractions. The human brain wasn't built for multitasking. Despite what people say, multitasking isn't a skill, it's a weakness. When you switch from one task to another, your brain has to reorient itself every time. That switching cost adds up. It drains your energy. It weakens your performance. And over time, it makes you feel scattered and burned out. If you check your phone while working, even for a moment, it takes your brain an average of 23 minutes to fully regain focus. Think about that. A single notification can derail nearly half an hour of productive time. The scariest part? Most of these distractions don't even feel like distractions anymore. They feel normal. Constant pings, open tabs, background noise. We've trained our brains to crave interruption. So if you want to reclaim your focus, you need to start training your attention like a muscle. You need to build a habit of deep work, sustained, focused effort without distraction. Here's how to start. First, choose your sacred hour. This is the 1 hour in your day that you will fiercely protect. Ideally, it should be when your energy is high, but more importantly, it should be undisturbed. You owe yourself this time. Make it non-negotiable. Next, eliminate everything that pulls you away from the task at hand. Put your phone in another room. Close all irrelevant tabs. Turn off notifications. Yes, all of them. You're not missing anything urgent. What you're gaining is your brain back. Then, set a timer for 60 minutes. During that time, focus on one task only. No multitasking. No jumping between windows. One thing, one goal, one push. In the beginning, it might feel uncomfortable. You'll feel the itch to check something, to just quickly reply. Don't give in. That's your brain detoxing from distraction. The more you do this, the easier it gets. Your focus sharpens. Your thinking becomes deeper. And most importantly, you begin to enter a flow state. Flow is that magical zone where time disappears, and you become completely immersed in what you're doing. Your creativity peaks. Your productivity soars. 1 hour in flow can equal 3 hours of distracted effort. But flow doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you remove distractions, focus deeply, and stretch yourself just enough to stay challenged. There's a famous quote that says, "You will never reach your destination if you stop to throw stones at every dog that barks." Distractions are the barking dogs of our day. If you stop for every one of them, you'll never reach your goal. Of course, the world won't stop interrupting you just because you want to focus. You have to create boundaries. You have to train the people around you, gently but firmly, that your time is valuable. Set expectations. Block time on your calendar. Let people know when you're unavailable. And most importantly, respect your own boundaries. Because if you don't respect your time, no one else will. Remember, your attention is your power. Where it goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, that's where results grow. Let me tell you about someone I know who changed everything by changing this one thing. He was a graphic designer who struggled to meet deadlines, not because he was unskilled, but because he was constantly distracted. Messages, meetings, multitasking, it wore him down. Then he decided to try something new. Every day, from 9 to 10 a.m., he turned everything off. No phone, no email, just design work. At first, he felt anxious. But after a week, he noticed something surprising. The work he used to complete in 4 hours was now getting done in just 1. His creativity returned. His stress dropped. His clients noticed the difference. 1 hour, 10 results. All because he reclaimed his focus. So here's your challenge for this chapter. Choose 1 hour a day to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with what matters. Guard that hour like it's gold, because it is. Don't let the world take it from you. In that hour, give yourself fully to the task. No multitasking, no switching, just pure, undiluted focus. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it, because the secret to doing more is being distracted less. Chapter 5. There's a myth that being productive means always being in motion, that if you're not busy, you're wasting time, that if you're not grinding, you're falling behind. But here's a truth that most people miss. Real productivity requires recovery. You are not a machine. You can't run endlessly without refueling. And if you try, burnout is inevitable. In fact, the reason so many people feel like they're working all the time but getting nowhere isn't because they're lazy. It's because they never stop to rest. They're constantly half on, half working, half scrolling, half thinking, but never fully recharged. Their body is tired. Their mind is foggy. Their creativity is flat. They're not lazy. They're drained. And drained people don't produce results. They repeat cycles. So if you want to consistently turn 1 hour into 10 results, you need to take rest seriously, not as an afterthought, not as a luxury, but as a strategy. Let's talk about what rest really means. It's not just sleep, although sleep is essential. Rest means any intentional activity that restores your physical, mental, or emotional energy. It means creating space for your brain to breathe. It means stepping away from doing so you can start thinking clearly again. Most breakthroughs don't come during effort. They come during space. That great idea you had in the shower, that solution that popped into your head during a walk, that's not random. That's rest doing its job. You probably heard of Newton discovering gravity while sitting under an apple tree. Einstein coming up with the theory of relativity while daydreaming. Ideas often emerge not in the middle of pushing harder, but in the middle of stillness. Stillness creates clarity. There's even science to back this up. Studies show that strategic rest increases productivity, creativity, and decision-making. When your brain gets downtime, it processes information more efficiently. It connects dots you didn't know were related. It finds patterns. It makes you sharper. So if you're serious about being productive, you need to stop wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor. Being tired isn't a sign of importance. It's a sign that something needs to change. The most successful people in the world, athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, don't just train hard. They recover hard. They have rituals, routines, and boundaries that protect their energy because they know that consistency beats intensity. And consistency is only possible with recovery. Here's how to build a rhythm of work and rest that actually works. Start with the basics. Get enough sleep. It sounds simple, but it's the foundation. Sleep is not optional. It's not a weakness. It's fuel. A tired brain is a slow brain. You might think you're saving time by sleeping less, but in truth, you're losing efficiency. Next, build breaks into your workday. Don't wait until you crash. Schedule breaks the same way you schedule meetings. Take 5 minutes every hour to stretch, breathe, or step outside. Take a real lunch break away from screens. You'll come back sharper every time. Now here's the part most people resist. Take real time off. Not just weekends where you sneak in emails. Not vacations where you're secretly checking Slack. I mean real, unplugged time. Even if it's just an afternoon or Sunday. The kind where your mind can detach and recover fully. It's not laziness. It's leverage. Because when you come back, You don't just resume, you rise. There's a practice I love called a full stop. Once a week, you intentionally shut everything down. No work, no screens, no noise. Just time to be. Go for a walk. Read a book. Journal. Reflect. Think. You'll be amazed at how your mind resets. Another strategy, use active rest. These are activities that restore your energy, not drain it. Things like walking, stretching, playing music, spending time with people who lift you up, not mindlessly scrolling, not binging content, but things that genuinely refill your tank. Think of it this way. Your body has a battery, and your mind does too. Every task you do, every decision you make, drains a bit of that battery. Rest is how you recharge. When your battery is full, 1 hour becomes powerful. When it's empty, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. That's why rest isn't a reward for hard work. It's a requirement for hard work. Let me give you a real example. There's a writer I know who used to believe that the only way to be successful was to write for 8 hours a day. She burned out constantly. Her writing started to suffer, so she decided to experiment. She cut her writing time down to just 2 focused hours a day, but she made rest a daily priority. Morning walks, reading fiction, afternoon naps, deep sleep. What happened? Her output doubled. Her creativity returned. Her books got better, and she felt like herself again. The difference wasn't the number of hours she worked. It was the quality of her energy. So here's your challenge. Look at your schedule and ask yourself, not how can I fit more in, but where can I build and rest? Block it, protect it, honor it, and most importantly, give yourself permission to rest without guilt. You don't earn rest by doing enough. You need rest in order to do enough, because a rested mind is a powerful mind. A rested body is a resilient one, and a rested person is not just more productive, they're more alive. Chapter 6. Most people don't have a time problem. They have a clarity problem. They wake up with energy and even motivation, but by noon, their day has slipped through their fingers. They responded to messages, attended meetings, crossed off small tasks, but made zero progress on what truly matters. That's because when everything feels important, nothing gets done. The secret weapon of high performers isn't more effort, it's precision. They know exactly what to work on, and just as importantly, what to ignore. They make fewer decisions, but each one carries weight. This is where the power of priorities comes in. If you want to make 1 hour count like 10, you need to stop doing more and start doing less. But better, it starts with asking a simple question every morning. What is the one thing I can do today that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? It's a question that slices through the noise. That one thing is your priority, your needle mover, your high-value task. It's the action that creates the biggest impact, not the easiest thing, not the most urgent thing, the most meaningful thing. And here's the catch. You only get to pick one. Why? Because when everything is a priority, your brain gets overwhelmed. You bounce from task to task, never going deep, never finishing anything fully. You end the day tired but unsatisfied. But when you pick one high-impact task and give it your full attention, even for just an hour, you build real momentum. This is the 80-20 rule in action. 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. But most people spend their time on the 80% that doesn't really matter. Emails, updates, status meetings. These might feel productive in the moment, but they rarely move the needle. They're maintenance tasks, not growth tasks. The key is identifying your 20%. What's the task that, if you did it consistently, would transform your career, your health, your relationships? That's your focus point. Let me give you a story. There was a struggling startup founder who felt constantly behind. He worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, burned out, stressed, always reacting. Until one day, a mentor asked him, if you could only do one thing today, what would actually grow your business? He thought about it. The answer was clear: sales conversations. Not tweaking the website, not fixing small bugs, not writing long strategy docs, just talking to potential clients. So he made a rule. No matter what else happened, he'd spend the first hour of each day doing outreach. Just 1 hour. Every day. 6 months later, his business had tripled, and he was working less. The difference wasn't time. It was priority. So, how do you get this kind of clarity? First, define your real goals. Not vague ones like be healthier or grow my business, but clear, specific ones. Lose 5 kilograms in 60 days. Sign 10 new clients this quarter. Clarity breeds action. Second, each morning, write down your top 3 tasks, but circle the one that matters most. That's your non-negotiable. Your one thing. If you only did that today, the day would still be a success. Third, do it first, before the day gets messy, before the fires start, before other people's priorities steal your attention. Front load your day with the thing that counts. This small shift, doing the most important thing first, has changed lives. It turns scattered days into focused sprints. It turns procrastinators into finishers. Of course, you'll still have other tasks to handle. Life doesn't pause. But when you lead with your true priority, everything else becomes easier. You feel lighter, more in control. Here's something else. Priorities protect your energy. When you stop chasing everything, your stress drops. Decision fatigue fades. You get more done with less effort. You stop confusing activity with achievement. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to overhaul your life. You don't need a fancy system. Just a pen, a piece of paper, and a quiet 5 minutes each morning to ask, what truly matters today? And then the discipline to do it, because productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most and doing it well. So here's your challenge for today. Before you do anything else, decide on your one thing. Write it down, block an hour for it, and protect that hour like it's gold. It might feel small, but 1 hour of focused action on the right task can be worth 10 hours spent on the wrong ones. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. Chapter 7. Let's talk about one of the biggest time thieves in modern life. Distractions. They sneak in quietly. A notification buzzes. A quick glance at your phone. A harmless scroll on social media. Someone walks by with a question. You tell yourself, I'll just check this one thing. And suddenly, half an hour is gone. You didn't plan to lose it. You didn't even notice it slipping away. That's the danger of distractions. They don't ask for permission. They hijack your focus. And they do it over and over until your energy is scattered and your day is wasted. If you want to turn 1 hour into 10 results, you have to get serious about focus. Laser focus. Ruthless focus. Because deep, undisturbed attention is a rare superpower in today's world, and it's what separates high performers from the rest. Here's the truth. Every time you get distracted, it doesn't just cost you the seconds or minutes you were away. It costs you the mental momentum you were building. Studies show it takes an average of 23 minutes to regain full focus after an interruption. Now imagine being distracted 5 times an hour. You're never really on. You're just bouncing, shallow, unfocused, tired. You can't afford that if you want to work smarter, not harder. So how do you fight back? Step 1. Design your environment to protect your focus. Your environment either supports your goals or sabotages them. If your phone is in sight, your brain is already distracted, even if you're not using it. If notifications are on, your mind is waiting to react. You can't win a battle if you leave the door wide open to the enemy. So close the tabs. Silence the phone. Log out of anything that pulls your attention sideways. Work with intention, not by default. Here's a simple rule. When it's time to focus, create friction between you and your distractions. Make it harder to check your phone. Use app blockers. Put your phone in another room. Turn off notifications on your laptop. Let people know you're unavailable for the next 45 minutes. Make focus easy and distraction hard. Step 2, use time boundaries. The brain can't focus indefinitely, but it can focus intensely for short, clear bursts. That's why time boxing works so well. You tell your brain, for the next 25 or 45 or 60 minutes, I'm all in, nothing else exists. It creates urgency. It creates presence. And best of all, it has an end point. The Pomodoro technique is a great example. 25 minutes of focused work, followed by a 5-minute break. After 4 rounds, take a longer break. You'd be amazed how much you can get done in just a few focused cycles like this. Or go bigger, 90-minute deep work blocks. During that time, you dive into one single, high-value task. No multitasking, no messages, just flow. That's where the magic happens. Flow is a state where your mind is fully engaged. Time melts. Ideas come easier. You forget to check your phone. You feel momentum. And afterward, you feel alive. But flow doesn't happen when you're multitasking. It doesn't happen with background noise or constant interruptions. It happens when your attention is single-minded and uninterrupted. Which brings us to the next point. Multitasking is a lie. You're not doing 2 things at once. You're switching back and forth rapidly, and each switch comes at a cost. You lose time. You lose clarity. You make more mistakes. You feel more stressed. Multitasking feels productive, but it's actually a form of mental sabotage. The most productive people focus on one thing at a time, fully, deeply, until it's done. Even if it's just for 30 minutes, that kind of focus beats hours of half working. Step 3, train your attention. Focus is a muscle, and like any muscle, it gets stronger with practice. The more you train yourself to work without distraction, the easier it becomes. Start small. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Choose one task. Shut everything else down. Then go. You'll probably feel the itch to check your phone or switch tasks. Resist it. Ride it out. Each time you stay focused, you're building mental strength. You're rewiring your brain for deep work. And over time, that muscle becomes your edge. Step 4, protect your recovery. The sharper your focus, the more important it is to rest afterward. You can't be in sprint mode all day. So build recovery into your rhythm. Get outside, stretch, breathe, let your brain relax. This rest isn't a break from productivity. It's a part of it. Focus plus recovery equals sustainable high performance. Let me share a real-world example. There's a consultant who was drowning in work. She felt like she was busy from dawn to midnight, yet constantly behind. Then she made one change. She started blocking 90-minute focus sessions every morning, just 2 a day. No phone, no email, just deep work. In 2 weeks, her output doubled. Her stress dropped. Her evenings became free again. Not because she worked more, but because she worked smarter. Focus was the difference. So here's your challenge. Create a focus ritual. Maybe it's making tea, setting a timer, putting on noise-canceling headphones, and opening one document. Maybe it's clearing your desk, writing your one thing on a sticky note, and silencing your phone. Whatever it is, turn focus into a habit. Make it sacred. Guard it. Because when you learn to shut out the noise, everything else gets easier. Ideas flow. Tasks shrink. Time expands. In a distracted world, Your ability to focus is your hidden superpower. Chapter 8. You've probably heard this before. Consistency beats intensity. But most people ignore it. They chase big wins. They wait for motivation. They work like maniacs for a day, then collapse for a week. It's a cycle of spikes and crashes, ambition, then burnout, inspiration, then exhaustion. This is not how high output is built. If you want real productivity without burnout, the goal isn't to work harder once. It's to work well every day. Not for hours, but for impact. That's where the real magic lives. Here's a truth most people miss. Small, repeated actions are more powerful than rare, massive efforts. One focused hour, every day on the right thing, will outperform a 12-hour sprint once a week. Every time. Why? Because of something called compounding. Think of it like this. When you train at the gym once a week, you stay sore, but don't see results. But if you train just 30 minutes a day, consistently, you get stronger, leaner, and faster. It builds. The same is true for your work, your skills, your habits, and even your confidence. 1 hour of deep work a day equals 260 hours in a year. That's over 6 40-hour work weeks. That's more than a month of pure, undistracted creation. Can you imagine what you could build with that? And all it takes is 1 hour a day. But here's the catch. You have to show up for that hour. Every day. Especially on the days when you don't feel like it. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs work when they feel inspired. Professionals work with a rhythm. It's not about perfection. It's about building a habit of showing up. Let me give you a real example. There was a writer who struggled to finish anything. She'd get excited about new ideas, write like crazy for a weekend, then burn out and drop the project. This happened again and again for years. Then she made one small change. She committed to writing just 1 focused hour a day. No exceptions, even on holidays, even when tired, even when the words came slowly. 12 months later, she had finished her first book. She didn't do anything dramatic. She didn't change careers. She didn't isolate herself. She just made consistency the rule, not the exception. And that changed everything. So, how do you build consistency into your life? First, stop relying on motivation. Motivation is a mood. It comes and goes. Don't wait for it. Design your day so that your 1 productive hour happens anyway. That means choosing a time that works for you and making it a non-negotiable part of your schedule. Maybe it's first thing in the morning, before the world wakes up. Maybe it's the hour before lunch, or right after your kids go to sleep. Find the pocket of time where you have energy, and then protect it. Second, lower the barrier. Some days you'll feel like conquering the world. Other days, brushing your teeth will feel like a win. That's okay. The trick is not to aim for greatness every time. Aim for showing up. Tell yourself, I just need to sit down and start. Often, starting is the hardest part. But once you begin, momentum builds. Even if the hour isn't perfect, it's progress. And progress compounds. Third, track it. There's power in visible progress. Use a calendar, a journal, or an app. Every day you complete your focused hour. Mark it. Watch the streak grow. It becomes a game, a challenge, a commitment to your future self. The goal isn't to be flawless. The goal is to build a streak long enough that it becomes part of who you are. You'll miss a day now and then. Life happens. Just don't miss 2. Because the longer you stop, the harder it is to restart. Momentum is fragile, but once you have it, it becomes your ally. And fourth, reward yourself. Small wins deserve small celebrations. Finish your hour? Great. Take a walk. Sip a coffee. Watch your favorite show. Reinforce the behavior. Make your brain associate consistency with pleasure, not punishment. Over time, this rhythm becomes natural. Your brain stops fighting you. It starts helping you. You'll start to crave that focused hour. You'll miss it when it's gone. That's when you know you've cracked the code. Consistency isn't sexy. It doesn't look impressive on social media, but it builds results you can't fake. Quietly, steadily, powerfully. So don't chase the big sprint. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start today, even if it's messy, and then show up again tomorrow, and the next day, 1 hour, every day, on what matters most. That's not just how you get results. That's how you become unstoppable. Chapter 9. Let's talk about something that silently controls how productive we are, how focused we feel, and how much energy we bring to each hour, our inner state. It's easy to look at productivity as a to-do list, a calendar, a technique. But beneath all of that, there's something more powerful, your mental and emotional clarity. You can have the best system in the world, the perfect strategy, and a quiet space to work. But if your mind is cluttered, anxious, or overwhelmed, you won't perform. You'll sit down to work, and your thoughts will scatter. You'll open your laptop and feel frozen. You'll try to focus, but it will feel like pushing through fog. This is why emotional clarity is productivity's secret fuel. When your mind is calm, clear, and centered, everything changes. You think faster. You make decisions more easily. You move with purpose instead of hesitation. You feel lighter. It's like removing invisible weights you didn't even know you were carrying. But here's the key. This inner clarity doesn't happen by accident. You have to create it. Let's start with the basics, your mental diet. What you consume becomes your inner world. If you constantly fill your brain with noise, endless news, negativity, drama, arguments, your inner space becomes chaotic. It's hard to build focus in a storm. So start treating your attention like your nutrition. Be intentional. Read things that inspire you. Watch content that teaches, not just entertains. Surround yourself digitally and physically with calm, not chaos. Even 5 minutes of silence a day can reset your nervous system. You don't have to become a monk. Just close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Let your thoughts settle. This isn't wasted time. It's sharpening your tool. Now let's talk about emotions because they are signals, not enemies. So many people try to push through stress, anxiety, or frustration. They bottle it up. They ignore it. But here's the truth. Suppressed emotion doesn't disappear. It leaks into your actions, your tone, your energy. If you're feeling off, pause and check in. Ask, what's really bothering me right now? Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's self-doubt. Sometimes it's just that you've been going too hard without a break. By naming the emotion, you take away its power. You see it. You don't become it. This self-awareness, this honesty with yourself, is a form of clarity. And clarity always boosts performance. Another thing that clouds your inner state, clutter, mental and physical. A cluttered desk is often a mirror of a cluttered mind, and vice versa. Take 5 minutes each day to clear your space. Not just because it looks nice, but because it sends a signal to your brain. This is a space of intention. This is where I create, not just react. Now let's get deeper. Do you know what causes more burnout than long hours? Unclear priorities. When you don't know what matters, everything feels urgent. You jump from task to task. You feel anxious. You always feel behind. But when your priorities are clear, your mind can rest. You know what to say no to. You know what to focus on first. You stop reacting and start choosing. And with that choice comes a powerful feeling. Control. This doesn't mean you won't have stress. It just means your stress won't own you. One tool that helps here is a daily clarity ritual. Just 5 minutes in the morning. Ask yourself, what are the top 3 results I want today? What can I let go of? What's one thing that would make me feel successful by the end of the day? These questions align your brain. They remove noise. They help you move with calm purpose instead of frantic speed. Let's not forget the body. Your physical state drives your mental state. Lack of sleep, poor food, no movement. These things don't just affect your health. They affect your attention span, your patience, your creativity. Don't underestimate the power of hydration, sunshine, movement, and sleep. These are not luxuries. These are the foundation of performance. Remember, your brain is part of your body. You can't think clearly if you're depleted. Now, some days will be messy. You'll feel off. That's okay. Don't fight those days. Adjust. Maybe your one productive hour becomes 30 minutes of focused review. Maybe you switch tasks to something lighter. The goal is not to be a robot. It's to respect your current state and work with it, not against it. And over time, something beautiful happens. You stop seeing productivity as a fight. It becomes flow. Your work feels smoother. Your decisions feel clearer. You no longer burn out because you no longer battle yourself. You align. You learn to manage your energy before your time, your clarity before your effort, your inner world before your outer work. And that's when productivity becomes not just a system, but a way of being. Chapter 10. As we reach the final chapter, I want to leave you with a simple yet profound idea. You are your most valuable resource. You are not defined by the hours you put in. You are defined by the focus, energy, and intention you bring to those hours. The difference between feeling exhausted and fulfilled is how well you manage your attention, your emotions, and your environment. When you learn how to make 1 hour count, you unlock something that few people ever fully realize. That productivity isn't about cramming more into your day. It's about getting more out of the time you already have. The key is quality, not quantity. It's about making the most of each moment, each decision, and each action. It's about transforming your time from a scarce resource into an abundant one. By now, you've learned how to set powerful boundaries to protect your focus. Build habits that transform your work into results. Tame your distractions, both internal and external. Cultivate consistency without burning out. Cultivate an inner state that supports your best work. But the most important lesson is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up. It's about choosing to take one focused hour and using it to create something meaningful, something impactful. So what's next? Start. Just start. You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need a perfect plan. All you need is an intention to show up, to commit to that hour, and to focus on what truly matters. Begin today. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for your schedule to clear up. Take this hour and own it. When you make this practice a part of your life, the results will speak for themselves. Remember, productivity without burnout doesn't require working harder. It requires working smarter. It's about working with intention, purpose, and focus. It's about being aligned with your energy and your priorities, and knowing that each hour you invest is a step towards something greater. And when you start to realize that 1 hour equals 10 results, you'll look back and see that each of those results was a small, consistent victory. Every focused hour you dedicate to your goals will compound. And before long, you'll have built something remarkable, not because you worked endlessly, but because you worked purposefully. In the end, it's not about how many hours you put in. It's about the impact those hours create. You have the power to decide how you use your time. So, take charge. Prioritize your 1 hour. Master your focus. And watch as the results come to life, effortlessly and consistently. Congratulations on finishing the book. I hope you find the strategies in this book useful, and that they help you unlock your full potential without sacrificing your well-being. If you ever need a reminder, remember, 1 hour is all it takes to create 10 results. Feel free to reach out if you'd like to work on any revisions or need further guidance. Good luck.